Hello and welcome to another episode of the Be Babe podcast. I'm Rachel Weaver, your host, and today I'm so excited to talk with Juliette. She is visibility by design and really taps into who you are authentically so that we can show up as ourselves. And we have so much to talk about today. We were just chatting before, and notably, one thing that I totally geeked out on is that she's a projector, but I'm a Manny Jen. We have the same channel to our throat. So I think this is going to be a fascinating conversation in how projectors operate versus many gens and how we want to show up, right? How we want to show up as ourselves. So Juliette, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret that Rachel, your little course on copy by design was one of the very first courses that I was researching when I decided that I'm going to add human design to my marketing experience.
No
And I forgot
way.
to, yes, it's literally was, I think it could have even been the very first. I bought this bundle over Christmas time, and there was
Yes.
good few courses. There was, I don't know,
Yeah.
loads of courses. And I know that yours was the first one. And I was really interested because, I'm a marketer. And so the copy content is my thing. And it's amazing for me. It's such an honor that we connected. I feel that the timing is right and this whole thing is right. And yes, we have so much interesting things we could discuss in so many ways. And this is just amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love hearing that feedback. So cool. Love it, Juliette. Juliette, tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are. Your online presence is amazing, guys. If you go, I'll drop her links in the show notes, but her online presence is very beautiful. It's just like it draws you in a very projector way, and I love it.
I love this feedback because as a projector, we do things, but we don't see our value sometimes. This is so beautiful. So I am a visibility strategist. I have been building visibility for projects, for businesses, for personal brands, for myself. I started as I was a singer, and I started building the online presence when in 1996, I bought my first computer and I logged in online. It was this like a 1-minute dial up to go online. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind because I could see that I can reach people way beyond my geographic location. I'm from Tallinn, Estonia originally, and it's a beautiful, beautiful. Tallinn is a medieval, very well preserved town, and it's the capital of Estonia, so it's a city, but it's still small. And so the scene is small. And I always felt like there could be more to things. And more importantly, and now I know that this is a projector thing, that not everyone is for me and I'm not for everyone. And, geographically, it's not always possible to have a lot of people who are for you. Sometimes there's zero. And so having this online world, for me, I straight away intuitively knew this is it. This is my thing. And I taught myself build things, websites, profiles on different, before even we called it social media, on whatever was communities there, first as a singer. Then when I sort of gave up singing because I had a child, I started doing dressmaking, and I created a dressmaking blog, and I actually built a big community on some of the dressmaking portals. And it was always this building visibility, building your presence, building. I'm not into building huge audiences, and it just naturally happens that I build an audience, but it's about shining your light. So this projector thing has always been there, and finding the recognition from the right people, and creating and sharing. And when somebody, you don't know who to talk to, who will be open to you, right? Your projector energy that's very sharp. And so the online world is perfect for people like us, because we can just shine into the universe, and a lot of people respond. So that happened it was a long time. And then I started looking after other projects. My husband is a producer. He had also some music projects that I was behind, promoting on social media. And then eventually in 2012 I said, okay, let's make money doing this, and created a digital marketing agency. For the next 7 years I was providing services with all the skills that I've taught myself.
Yeah.
And interesting observation. That wasn't the happiest time of my life. I later pivoted into coaching more. And so being a guide, being a projector, coaching, mentoring, tweaking, sharing your perspective is so much more aligned with who I am. Whereas the first 7 years of my business, my self-worth was at zero, because, you know, it was like self-worth equals what you do, how much you do, and how many thank yous they say. And usually when you're working, especially with local businesses, they don't see your value like that, like you want to. So it was like a learning curve, and a lot of frustration, bitterness, loads of bitterness, and walking out of people's businesses, and having this experience. I love I follow a cosmic guide called Elizabeth Peru. She's Australian guide. She's really, really beautiful. She's not talking about human design, but she talks about a lot of spirituality and cosmic influences. And she said just recently, you have to experience the ugliness in order for you to appreciate the beauty. And I love that. I'm even now, I'm a splenic projector. I'm now getting goosebumps because this is a correct thing for me to say. And this puts everything into perspective. Every time when you have this moment of darkness, you can always lean into it and think, maybe I need to experience this. I need to be familiar with this, because we tend to not recognize the amazing things in our lives that are there all the time, because, you know, we're expecting more, we want more. But actually by knowing when you don't have these things, or when you're not feeling at your best, or, you know, when people don't appreciate you, then you start really, really valuing when people do, and those people who do appreciate you. And you get, you learn to discern who to listen, who to allow in your world even. And that is very, very important for a projector like me. It's so important. It's so important. And my life has changed since I've been selective.
So you haven't been doing your human design experiment for very long. When did you discover human design?
I came to human design in early in 2020. Pandemic just hit, or maybe just before that. It's completely accidentally. And I know that I've had online shows and interviews for a long time. I'm pretty sure there was a lady I interviewed who was talking about human design maybe around 2018. And this is a funny thing. The timing is wrong. It went into one ear, came out of the other. It didn't even get stuck there. You know what it was. And I don't remember who said it. It's so sad. I can't say thank you to that person. But I did my chart, and I think it was on mybodygraph.com. And so I started reading and listening to Ra, and that was my time to discover this. This was permission to be me. Everything was explained. And even though I don't like putting people in boxes, although I think I naturally do, because I have this channel of logic, you know, and I need to rationalize a lot of things. And so I do put people into boxes to understand them. And I didn't want to do that. And yet, you know, this gave me everything, all the understanding. Why am I a certain way? Why my husband is a certain way? He's also a splenic projector, but it's completely different to me. You know, why my daughter is a certain way? She's a mental projector. Why, when I was growing up, I was bouncing off the walls, and my mom even took me to the doctor to see if anything is okay with me. Of course, I was living with 2 generators and a money gen. I was drunk on their energy, jumping up and down. And, you know, they were all like normal. So, and they said it was so beautiful, and it took a while. I remember that I was really into human design, and then in mid-20, I was living in Ireland at the time, and mid-2020, in the middle of pandemic, my big dream of leaving Ireland, and I came back to Estonia. It's a very long story. Never expected that my home will be the place that ticks all the boxes, but it does. And so we came back and we moved back to Estonia, and I kind of didn't go near human design for a while. And then while I was settling in here, all these thoughts about who am I? You know, why are my old friends not really kind of like greeting me with the open arms, and alignment of people, alignment of places, environment. And I knew that human design will give me the answers because I already, started learning. And I went really, really deep into learning about myself, of course, first, and then about other types, because I really want to understand people around me. So then I know I have this like red flag, green flag, and it became so much like boiling inside me, literally, that this passion that I have this message. I have to help others with this. This is no way just for me. I knew that this was a strong calling and a knowledge inside me. So on the 11th of the 11th last year, 2021, I stepped out of my human design closet and I said, this is it, guys. I'm going to guide you with human design. Funny note that I threatened, I had a launch in March 2021, and it was a small mentorship group that I have. So I had a launch for the next intake, the next year. And a lot of people renewed because I promised them that I'm going to use human design for guidance. And I was sitting on my hands, and I didn't because I was checking out. I didn't want to be labeled as a woo person. I didn't want to be pigeonholed into this one thing. And yet this was the thing that was calling me, and eventually I just took it. And it's still a process. I will be very, very transparent about this because it's been now 8 months, and I know that I haven't done everything that I wanted to do in my mind. I know exactly how to take over the world as the human design and marketing expert. I have it all figured out, but I'm a projector. I don't have the daily energy for it. So I'm taking my time and doing it like one podcast at a time, one article at a time. And, and I'm really enjoying this process because one thing I learned from human design is that you have your own pace. You have your own pace. Honor that pace.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And just as a side note, I went to Estonia, like 20 years ago.
Wow.
It was like 20 years ago. We did a European study tour, and we dropped down from Helsinki into Estonia for like an afternoon. And it was fabulous. It was like a medieval town. It was absolutely, I loved it. It was so cool. Anyway,
I'm so excited that you were here. So, I live literally like 10 minutes walking from the old town, it's a UNESCO site. So it's always going to be preserved, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
I mean, the vibe was just, I'm sad that we only had like a half afternoon there because it was such a neat vibe, even 20 years ago. So cool.
You should come back.
I know I should. Okay, let's dive into the different types and how you really coach or guide the different types in their marketing. Like, as a projector, what are you going to do? As a many 10, what are you going to do? As a manifestor, what are you going to do?
This is such a great question. I do it differently. I don't go by this is what you do if you're a projector, this is what you do if you're a manifesting generator, because of what I just mentioned and this whole resistance of becoming a human design coach. So what I do is first of all, what I help people do is show up with content consistently. We use Facebook, but on social media, and also use a little bit of publicity, because to build that shiny cover, you mentioned my presence. It's very strategic because this is what I encourage others to do as well. It's like build that vision that you have, and then like a caterpillar grow into it. So build it and put it out there against your fears, and then you grow into it. So my vision is obviously much bigger than how I see myself. I don't walk around with a big head. But if you come to my website, you will get this presence that this is what I want to be perceived as.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
The story that a person will build in their heads the moment they see me will be aligned with what I want to be perceived as, and not because of some uncontrolled kind of meeting environment, and then a person just creates their own story. We build stories. The first impression is so important, and sometimes if there's a negative or like a impression, it's so hard to change the mind. The person will always have this judgmental first impression, and they will remember that, she was no one, or she didn't look good. And, it's harder to overcome that than to actually build that first impression visual thing, and sprinkle the keywords, sprinkle the things that immediately gives this idea what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's my zone of genius, and so I walk my talk with that as well. And of course the content, I'm blessed with a defined throat, but I have a lot of clients who don't have a defined throat, who are brilliant with how they speak. Actually, talking about that, one of my most favorite voices of all times, Matthew McConaughey, has
totally.
open throat.
So
open throat. I was shocked because I thought, wow, this is like such a distinct open throat. So it's just it's brilliant, but you have to have that presence that backs everything that you have to say.
Yeah, no, I love that what you're saying. It's like you're building the person that you're stepping into, right? Like, who do you want to be perceived as? Who's your next level self? And then you're creating that. Yeah, you're creating that. And you're like, no, this is who I'm stepping into. This is who I am and who I want to like present out to the world. I fucking love that. And I just
want to add, it's important to also understand that there's an evolution. So if I look through my even profile pictures on Facebook, there's an evolution. I didn't straight away create the cover I have now because I wasn't that, and I didn't even dare, or maybe I didn't even have the vision of that. I always have this like, what is the next step? So it's like the stairs we're taking, and what's the next step? How can I be more within me, but also be straight away, pre-sell, so I don't have to. Basically, that I think that this is like a call of desperation. Can my photograph pre-sell that I'm a big important coach and I don't have to say it, and this is, I think it's very important because we judge the book by its cover. We really do, and we always will. And in this noisy world, it's also very important. So you asked me just earlier how I guide, and so that have the reverse version is where we're working with somebody and we're getting to know them, and then I'm going to explain to them why certain way doesn't work for them or certain way could be better, because then I will say, because you're a projector, and for you, if you just budge in, you need to create this recognition of you. How you do that is you step on the stage and you start talking.
You just start. I love it.
And they don't have to stay. Yeah, they don't have to stay.
I'm curious to know, you mentioned before we hit record that you work with a lot of mini gens. The marketing that works for me is very, and it's taken me a really long time to accept it, is that it's not a strategy. It's literally like me just showing up as me and being happy and sharing what I know. And that's it. Like it literally doesn't matter where it is. It could be a little here, and that's actually what I do. Is like I sprinkle it everywhere. But that's it. And that drives my mind bonkers. It's like, I want a strategy. So I'm curious to know, as a manager.
I love that you asked this. It's amazing because you know what? This is something that people want.
Yeah.
We want. Yeah. We want to be told how. We want to follow some sort of set path that is guaranteed to work. And this is why in the online, and you're from the online marketing industry yourself, you know how this is what sells, right? When you give somebody a blueprint, when you give somebody a step-by-step. But the truth is that we also have to be realistic. And the sober approach to this is that, if you tell me that this works step-by-step, but is it going to work for me? Is it going to work for me? And that's what we're not asking, and the whole industry is built on selling and taking people's money and giving them these steps that nobody takes because they're not for them, or very little people get results. And with manifesting generators, first of all, can I just say that I think that every projector secretly wants to be, at some stage at least, a manifesting generator. And it's a process in itself and an experiment in itself to let go of that desire of being. And I still have some days that I'm thinking, I wish I was a manifesting generator, because often I meet, let's just say, the most vibrant people that I followed online, that I absolutely fell in love with, and are impactful. They were all coincidentally manifesting generators, and it just feels sometimes that this type guarantees success, and it's not
No.
at all,
No.
because I also, yes, I know other manifesting generators who are much more reserved, and they actually having difficulty to show up, and they're having difficulty to explain clearly what they do. So all the strategies about this is how your title should be, I help this, so that it doesn't work for
No.
everyone. And
No.
especially manifesting generators are just here to, in a way, to be manifesting generators. They're here to do whatever the hell they want to do right now. They're not here to be pigeonholing. And the worst thing is that the society tells you need a structure. You need to plan this. You need to, is this good enough? Are you sure this is how you should be doing this? Are you sure now?
Yep.
And so, or they speak this, they have these dialogues in their head about this. I recently did this nutrition program called WildFit, and in WildFit they have this concept of the angel and the devil, food angel and food devil, having these dialogues. And when you start the program, you really watch your internal dialogue. But there is a dialogue like this for everything. In marketing, there's also marketing angel and marketing devil, and the devil says, no, you cannot do it on your own. You need to have a structure. You need to have, like, who says it's going to work? Who says you're wasting your time? And then you go and you waste so much more time trying to follow some steps. And it just doesn't work, and with manifesting generators, I constantly, what I seem to be doing with my clients who are manifesting generators is kind of much more removing. Are you sure you're not overthinking again? Are you sure you're not trying to put yourself into like one box again? I think you should go for it. No, you do not need to worry about what happened. Did you do that training? Great. Put it as a masterclass, put a price on it. Somebody wants it, they will buy it. You'll make a few quid. You don't even have to promote it if you don't feel like it, because you have something else that lights you up right now. Go for it. Did you respond correctly to it? Was it something that you was there a response, or you're just thinking that it's going to work because you're trying to, because it's maybe a logical thing to do? And if it isn't, let's explore it. And I find that, because with visibility, especially, consistency is the key. It's funny, they branded me the queen of visibility from about 2018. I even used it in my branding, but I don't anymore. But it's so funny because I'm a projector. I am kind of naturally not consistent at all, and yet my visibility is super consistent, because you have to be seen. It's like standing on a very busy square, like Times Square, New York, and so many people are walking past you, and how do you get visible? You have to do something that will stand out, that just, they're passing by, maybe several times they passed by, and now they're looking, oh yeah, she's there again. So this girl, what is she doing? Oh yeah, she's there, playing music. Oh, I love this music, or not, and they're free to go or not. But it's about this consistency, and with consistency, every type will have an issue.
Oh, let's talk about consistency and how people approach it differently, right? Especially you as a projector who doesn't want to be online all the time. I don't even want to be online all the time.
I don't think anybody wants to be online all the time. I don't think anybody does. It's very exhausting.
It's true. So how do we create that consistency? What does that even mean? Is that every day? What does consistency mean? And how do we do it in the way that works for us?
It's a great question. It's such a great question. Really, from a marketing point of view, it's best to talk about this, and we will bring, human design into this. But of course, there is no such thing just to say you need to do it every day, because it depends on where. So if you're talking about your Facebook, say, for example, my center stage is my Facebook profile, personal profile. I am not bothered about the page, because I don't want to be trying to, shout out to the world about me in a closed room, right? And I have to pay for the door to open. I don't want to do this. I want to be more visible. So I'm using my personal profile, and I'm creating content. And this is where I'm competing. Nobody comes to my personal profile unless they're checking me out, right? So how do I get that attention? Some people say go to different groups and engage. I find it super, super exhausting. So I just use pure attraction marketing where I create content. I engage with people that I like. I have a small number of groups where I engage with people, but I don't really necessarily do it strategically. And also I look for opportunities for me to come to podcasts, to shine elsewhere outside. And I'll talk about this. But on my Facebook, if I want to be consistent, so I want to be like that, as I said, like a street act. How do you get noticed? You just need to be there. The person passing by several times didn't notice you, but the fifth time they're passing by that street, you're there. They already started to notice you. And so we need to be more consistent. So once a day is the minimum that I would recommend posting. But you can be smart about it, right? So I am, as a projector, definitely, it's not that even I don't want to be on Facebook every day. I sometimes just have nothing to say because I have this projector thing where I just had a burst of energy and now it's 3 weeks, nothing is coming out. And so I use a lot of automation that helps me repurpose first of all, my best content that was written in the energetically aligned times. I also use automation to post things that we always forget to post. For example, testimonials. Like an image with a testimonial. We forget to tell people that we're awesome, because you have to tell people that we're awesome because they also forget, so we need to remind them. And I am not an egotistic person. And, in real life, I prefer to be quiet somewhere, an observer. I'm not really like someone like me. But online, you have to, if you don't toot your own horn, nobody will. So you use, yes, exactly. So I use automation that just reminds me to post this couple of clicks, and that's all I have to do. But then there's a post that went, I have made money from posts that were written a year ago. And post it in the correct moment with me having completely no detachment or attachment to it, I should say. This is a post I just created. I want validation. I want sales. There was nothing, and boom, I'm getting a high ticket client. That happens. It happens when you create content that is energetically aligned, and disregard when you. And disregard when you wrote something because you thought that I need to show up, so I need to create a post on this topic, and then you produce something just because you have to. There is no energetically backing to it, and so it's like mediocre melting chocolate that nobody wants, and so people scroll by. They scroll by. So I stopped doing that altogether these days. And I just over time built the library of, and this is what I mentor as well, build the library of your best content. You were a guest on a podcast, create an automation where ever so often this podcast episode will be promoted again and again. It's good for your host. It's good for you because it builds your authority. And so you start adding to this first impression, second impression is like, oh my God, she's on this, podcast. Today I have an article in Entrepreneur coming out that I wrote about human design, and they published it, which is amazing. And so there again, every time you get this kind of little, maybe something published somewhere, and you can build that up, you can do it over time, not straight away, but then you also put it into the automation and you just constantly show up. So that's how you create this even more than once a day visibility without you even. So today I'm not posting anything. I have this podcast and I had another one today. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to watch Stranger Things because the new season is coming up. I need a refresher. I'm just going to do my things. I'm not going to do anything for work. And I took a long walk as well in the morning because it was sunny. So this is how you work smart. But, it takes a little bit of time. So you just need to approach it with this kind of thing, just before, this was just for Facebook every day, but there's other ways of getting visible and getting clients. For example, publicity. It's a big word, but it's actually not really, it's really, really good for hot leads attraction. And this is about writing quality blog posts for your blog, being strategic, like creating this cluster of covering the whole topic, just building that, publishing on other publications that are relevant to your industry, doing podcasts, start your own podcast so you can as well, show up to other audiences as a host. I have intuitively, before I even knew about human design, my very first strategy strategy for my own visibility as a coach was to start an online talk show. And I did it twice a week for 6 months. Then it was once a week. And now I have Visibility by Design podcast, which is a new podcast. And Rachel's going to be a guest on my podcast too. But this is the maybe fourth or fifth project that I had like this. Yeah. This attracted me so many clients, even though I was just a host, because the guest changes, but the host is constant, and you add a little 2 cents here, opinion there, and it's a nurturing. And also people who watch your content also get to observe you, and they fall in love with you in a conversation.
Yeah, they do. And I feel like, especially, so I didn't start the podcast with guests. It was just me talking. And then I realized that was exhausting people to talk to.
It's true.
Especially as a mini gen. And it's been so fascinating to just, people are magnetized to podcasts. They want to be on podcasts. So it's easy for me to meet people and just to have a great conversation. Start and just build the network. I'm a fourth line too. So building the network is so important, and having a podcast where I could just talk to people. I was like, why did I not do this earlier?
It's the easiest thing. And plus there is another, let's talk about first impressions, right? It's Juliette with her, the status thing. You can start from scratch and you invite people who are a little bit more successful in your industry, in your niche. Yeah. And over time, and we're talking just mere months, if you do it consistently, you're going to be positioned alongside the same successful people. That's happened to me in the very beginning as a marketing coach. Even though I was a digital marketing specialist, but I wasn't a coach, right? So it's all about positioning yourself. I just mentioned that it was only 6-7 months when I decided to position myself as a human design marketing expert. And, as I said, Entrepreneurs publishing the article today, I am already establishing myself. Podcast was one of the ways for me to strategically position myself alongside other experts. Our perceptions can be changed if consistently we see some sort of message over time. And we're talking about, 6 weeks, 3 months. Yeah. It's you can spend 3 months overthinking and doing nothing, or you can spend 3 months chatting to awesome people that you get to select, you get to really connect. And if you're a projector like me, or you're a non-sacral manifestor, reflector, meeting a manifesting generator, you're going to get lovely energy. You're going to get sacral drunk. You're going to get all the buzziness. And it's like win-win.
Win-win. And that's so true. It's like stepping into that next level self, right? Like you're putting yourself in the room with people that are a little bit further ahead in the journey, I guess. But then you become associated with that. I freaking love that. Oh, so good, Juliette.
It's very simple, right? And it makes sense.
Yeah, it is really simple.
It feels scary to people. Even the word publicity, I always feel like I have to explain what it really means. But it's the most fruitful, because you get to attract people. First of all, the industry experts respect you as well. You get to have equal conversations, which is very, very satisfying. You learn a lot yourself from what your guests are saying, which is really, really good. And then you also attract people who are really, really into you. So hot leads, they just want more access to you.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that's a big thing.
So true. Oh my gosh, so good. What else do you want to share? I feel like we covered a lot.
Oh, let's talk about the 1648 channel that we share, because that's very interesting.
Yes. Okay. So, I feel like this channel is it's a little bit esoteric. It's about being skillful, but it's not a skill that you're born with. It's a skill that you learn through your life. And it's in the moment, but I feel like it's also a little bit of depth too. And for me, I have some other depth gates in my chart. So I naturally really want to compete with people. You mentioned before we started recording that is not the case for you. And this is what I love about human design, because you can have the same energy, quote, air quotes, energy, but it presents so differently for each person. So how do you interpret, how do you use that channel as your definition to your throat to connect to people? And honestly, I'd really love to know too, how you came to your core message, your like, this is the message that I have for people, and I'm sticking with it? Because me as a agent, I've bounced around so many freaking times. Even
it's your journey, right? It's your
it's so
journey.
my
That's what
journey.
you are. And it's going to change many a time going forward. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you come to like, this is my message and I am drawing the line in the sand. This is it. This is me. Right.
This is such a great question. By the way, you said, you go deep with people. What we actually talked about, just for our listeners to clarify, we were talking about human design. And I said to Rachel straight away, Rachel, I am not a human design coach. Don't ask me questions that will be like revealing that I'm not a human design coach. I am a marketer who just like a cherry on top is human design, because it just then makes sense why this strategy is not for you and this is for you. And so I can realign. And this is the core message, which I found in my conscious Mercury, which is gate 18.3, which is all about correction and realignment. That's the word, align, realign. I can see when somebody, I'm very good at content audits. So one of the things that we do in my mentorship group, Visibility, the Sales Accelerator, is the content audits. And sometimes they'll write something and I'm saying, this is great. However, you're starting with something that is completely unclear, or you're asking a question at the end that's just not connected to what you just said. You're just putting it there just to have a call to action. So how can we align this? This is maybe you flip the script here and you will just say it in a different way, or maybe you need to open with a question to make for the rest to make sense. And it's so interesting because it's particularly manifesting generators sometimes having problems actually explaining themselves in my experience, because too many things happening in the head. Yes. And so, this realigning and the core message came from there. But the 1648, here's my experience with it. And just to kind of, I don't know if we mentioned this or not, I'm a 1-3 splitting projector. So I am here to experience everything through myself and then to tell the world, this is BS, doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm telling you this because I've tried it and I've, I got enthusiastic about it, then I failed. And, and I talk about myself. So I will talk about this 1648. This is an amazing experience because, as you said, this is not about necessarily being born with something and you're amazing at it. It is something that you might have a potential, but you need to master it, because if you try to do it and wing it, although we're quite good at winging it, but if you try and wing it, but you don't know what you're talking about, so there is definitely a lack of the, expertise behind what you're saying, it will not have impact at all. People will actually become suspicious of you and what you're trying to say, and they will not take you seriously, which is the worst thing. I experienced that, I think, in my private life more than my professional life. Maybe I'm very good at winging my professional life, but in my private life, I know that a lot of people would say to me when I was younger, in my early 20s, I remember people saying something like, if Juliette's saying that, just don't listen. This is just a lot of whatever, and so I think that this is exactly where the problem was, that I was trying to have opinions or talk about things that I didn't master just yet. They were empty things. They were not, there was no this backing. Whereas in my I'm in my 40s and 45, and so this decade, this whole era of being 40 was amazing for me, and all these skills that I've gathered over time, they're kind of all aligned like a beautiful puzzle, into this masterpiece. Well, if I may say so myself. So that's where and that's where this whole power comes. That is really important. It's a very interesting story how I found out that I have the power of speaking to some, and actually, this is a very vocal channel, 1648, because it's talent. You're talented at something, but it is expressed through your throat. It is about talking and being so enthusiastic about it that it's contagious to others.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I have that. It just, maybe it's a projector thing when you don't see your value. And I was in the very first, I think it was the first few months that I started building my visibility on Facebook, and I joined this group. They had some sort of Q&A, and I asked a question, and it was probably about a strategy, like we're all looking for a strategy or a system.
Yep.
And there was a very great, very experienced marketer who was doing the live answers, and they had a panel, and they came up to my question, and he was like, Juliette, when she speaks, people listen. You girl have an X factor. You don't need to worry about all these things. You just need to speak what you feel like you need to speak. So I definitely need to talk about things that I'm passionate about. I know that I don't even talk about things now. If I'm not passionate about something, and my husband is going to divorce me shortly because I literally stopped talking about things that I'm not bothered talking about, and this kind of comes from that part, where, because if you do, you just, it's either you're meeting not the resistance, but there's this like cold shoulder kind, she's just talking nonsense, and I don't want to cause this. I would just want to talk about things when I have this backing with either my passion or experiences and something that I've really truly understood. And that's what I think 1648 helps do in terms of communicating and marketing, especially, and finding your voice and this core message. It's about, I believe that this is, and I don't know if I believe it actually comes from that, but this is how it came out just now.
I think it's I experience.
Yeah, that's actually feeds into 1-3 and how I always talk about myself. So I experience, definitely. And so it's all about saying that I've tried this. I've experienced this. I have believed that this is this way, and however, now I know that this is not for me, at least. So my karma here is to let you know that you need to experience it for yourself. You need to try it for yourself, and see. And also, I always say, and this is again, it's so aligned with this channel, because I tell my clients always, just don't rush, focus on one step. Yes, maybe these days I look like this. I didn't look like this in 2017 when I started. I didn't at all. I just had this urge inside. I knew this was not enough. What was happening, it was not enough. I didn't know how it's going to be. I didn't know what it's going to be. So it's about just, building yourself, building that little bolder version of you. And then you will, it's like a lobster, lobster grows into this shell, but then they have to break the shell, which is always a painful process, and you will learn and experience more things. And then you're going to build another shell. That's your bigger version of you. Then again, you're going to break through that. And so eventually we are not starting as Tony Robbins's level straight away, and some of us don't even ever need to be there.
Oh, I love that. I love that, breaking out of the shell and growing into it and breaking it and going into it. My Mercury is D12. So it's about being moody and being in the mood, which drives me bonkers, because I truly can't express or explain anything unless I'm like in it, in the zone, and like, nope, I'm ready to talk about this. And then I'm like all off, like blah, 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 blah. So it's so fascinating how all these different parts and pieces. I'm also a 6th line, so I'm on the roof right now, 100% on the roof, coming down a little bit, but still very, very on the roof, and not necessarily ready to share, not necessarily ready to like be in the limelight, I guess. So there's like a hesitation there always, but I love what you're saying, that we're stepping, like, who do I want to be down the road in like 10 years or even 5 years, 5 years for as many, Jen. But 10 years.
I would even say don't put the number. For some people, if you put the number, it's so overwhelming, because it either feels too long or too little. If it's too long, you're not going to take an inspired action. If it's too little, then it's too pressurizing. But how do you want people to perceive you? How do you want people to perceive you
I
right
love that.
now, so it's
Mhm.
easier for you to sell your services. Let's just bring it to
Mm.
like the most practical level. And I'm very, I'm foundation. I'm like, how do you sell this? And I am not a salesperson, guys. I hate doing it. I don't do sales calls. I like in the chat, do you want to buy? No, yes, goodbye.
Yep.
It's like simple. There is no pressure because I
Yeah.
just don't want to do this. But the bottom line is, this is what I am about. The bottom line. The bottom line is like, how can you make this business easier?
Mm.
How can you make it safer? How can you make it,
Yeah.
you build these things, and how do you want people to approach you? Do you want people, do you want to overcome objections? That's exhausting to even say
It's
it
so
out loud.
exhausting. Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody wants that.
No. And so this is where, and it's great. So you don't need to overthink. Like, I don't like this 10 years plans or anything. Vision boards I like because you can put your dreams on the board and, but sometimes, it's not even, you can create one and then forget about it. And so.
Oh, I totally forget about my vision boards. Are you kidding me?
I do them and then forget about them, and they still all come true.
Yeah,
that's the key.
So true. Yeah, it's something. I would agree with that. Oh my gosh, Juliette, what an amazing conversation. Tell people where they can find you, what kind of freebie. I want people to have that. Yeah, all the things.
Okay, cool. I think the best place to go looking for me is JulietteStapleton.com. There's a few freebies on the homepage there. And I would say if you're coming from Rachel's side, and Rachel already explained about human design, and you probably know all these kind of things, but you can also, there's a series I have on how to show up on your personal profile, where I'm talking about the strategy on Facebook, personal profile, what I did, what I've learned, and a little bit of human design to that. To some things make sense when you add it, but that's an 7 or 8 days email sequence. I'm going to bring you into my Facebook post, so you just see, what I did. And another thing as well, there is a little chat I talked about stopping the scroll, right? How not to write, how to write for articles, but how to write for social. So you can maybe, if you want, it's a free, again, just to listen half an hour. It was a part of the summit that I did last year, so they kindly allowed me to use it just to show that how cool it is, to learn, to master, right? We were talking about mastering. How cool it is when you actually master writing for, say, social media, because it starts then creating magic for you, while you can take a break and go, for a walk with your puppy, or do whatever you love doing, or wait until you're in the mood to start doing something, the next impactful thing that's on your list.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Juliette. Thank you so much for coming today and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your just vibrant, beautiful soul. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great conversation.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.